I'm going to introduce our today's guest speaker, Dr. Amrendra Ajay. Dr. Amrendra Ajay is a faculty at the world famous Harvard Medical School, which is situated at Boston in United States. Now, before coming here, he started his career from Bihar National College at Patna, where the BSc Biotechnology course is very famous and it has led to so many batches for several years. After BSc, he did his MSc in biotechnology and then he joined IIT Bombay. Now, IIT Bombay conducts the JAM exam, and only the top rankers are able to get into the Bombay campus. Just a minute. After this, he joined National Center for Cell Sciences, which you all would know is in Pune. It is one of the foremost centers in India for cell biology related studies. After this, he joined Harvard Medical School as a postdoctoral fellow, where he studied conditions related to kidney. And he is still focusing on kidney related diseases. Besides that, he also researches on cancer and cardiovascular complications. He has several publications in international journals, close to 40, and he has received a ton of awards and honors. So without taking his time, I would like to invite Dr. Ajay.
Thank you, Piyush, for the nice introduction. I will, without taking much time, I will start, and I think we can go through our question and answer at the end of the session, right?
Yeah. So we are collecting all the questions from participants, and after the session, you can address them.
I'm just sharing my screen. If you can see my screen, please say yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, great. So today I'll be talking about what are the career opportunity for life science. As you grow, according to my experience and based on other things that is out in the market. And this is organized by Sanjeevani Biotech Foundation, which is a very good platform. And I really appreciate the initiatives and all the work done by volunteers, which is really benefiting the people, students, faculty in Bihar and all over the India and other places who can join. So this is my financial disclosure. I have some grants from different places and some patents. So what I'm planning to tell you in like next 30 minutes is right from intermediate to your final degree, what are the career opportunity that we can take advantage of, and what is the best, what is better, what is not good. We can discuss all together. So I will start with the intermediate of science for the junior students who have just started their career going to the college. So if you look at the top, it is intermediate of science, and there are three branches from the science people generally go. Of course, there are a lot many, but we cannot discuss this today. But there are many subjects that you can choose from. But I'm just focusing on the basic ones that people generally go for, and the majority of people do these. So in the left side is medical, in the middle is engineering, and as a part of engineering, there is also biotechnology at the bottom. On the right side, you can see a BSc, which is basically Bachelor in Science, and we have life sciences as a major, but we can also do like other sciences. I'll just focus on life science. In the next slide, I will tell you about, maybe there is some discrepancy between these two slides. I'm sorry for the mess up. I think there was one for the bachelor's and one for the master's. Okay. So this is the heading is a misnomer here. So this should be the opportunity after bachelor's degree. So people go for BTech, biotechnology. So there are two courses basically you can take after intermediate of science. Either you can go for BTech biotechnology. Of course, you can do many other courses, but I'm focusing mainly on biotechnology and life sciences. So BTech biotechnology in the left side. On the right side, it is BSc life sciences. And this life sciences means biochemistry, biochemical engineering, many other subjects like geology, botany. These all are combined together. So it will be like I will be discussing in like more broader way what are the opportunity. But even if you have a specialization, we can look into it individually and discuss more about it. So when you do a BTech, which is a 4-year course in biotechnology, what you can do? So you can either go to the pharma in the left side arrow. You can see yellow arrow, uh, and in the pharma, you will be joining either a biotech or a pharma industry. So biotech is a small pharmaceutical industry that develops new therapies or new uh, biomarkers or new device, which is not a big industry, but pharma industries are generally termed as bigger industries. So, so your salary, I have put a salary perspective just set of value based on the surveys that people have done. So pharma industry pays like 30K, 30 to 60,000 per month to these biotech, BTech biotechnology people. You can also go on the other track, which is academia track. On academia, you can continue your MTech or PhD. So what I have seen, and according to my study, what people have done is many people go for MTech after BTech, which is very common. And for I have just put one option for GATE. People go for IITs. That is the very best place for doing engineering. And the salary is kind of a fellowship, which is like 25K per month. And I think you can live there with this salary. So this is not super bad if you compare with the biotech. Some of the people, what they do is they go for PhD. And for the PhD, most of the people try to go abroad. I'll tell you why. Because the salary, if you see the salary increase, it is like 1 to 2 lakhs per month for the PhD students. And also there is another value. I will explain you a little bit later of doing PhD from abroad. On the right side, you can see BSc Life Sciences. And if you look at the pharma industry, so people, even with the BSc Life Sciences, you can choose your career. Either you can go to pharma on the left or the academia on the right. So if you choose to go to pharma industry, there are like biotech and pharma industries, and you will be getting a job like research technician. And this the salary is like initial salary will be 15K to 30K, 15,000 to 30,000 per month. But if you want to continue with academia, you will be doing masters in biotechnology, and which is basically you will not be getting paid any fellowship, or even if you are getting, it will be like very low amount. So it is not sustainable economically. So if you can sustain by yourself, because there will be fees and everything, expenses. If you are not in your hometown, you have to look for fooding, lodging, everything outside. So you have to be prepared for that. Some people, there are very, I put a red arrow because not many people go with this route, but some people basically after masters, they come back and do MTech in the biotechnology. There are very few, smaller fraction, but they do it. So for your timeline, in general, BTechs are 4 years, BScs are 3-year courses, and MScs are 2 years, and MTech is 2 year again. So you can think about this. And PhDs are mainly 5 to 6 years, depending on how your project goes. So in the next slide, I will tell you what are the opportunities after master's degree. So MTech, in the left side, I'm telling you about MTech biotechnology. And in the left side, again, I'm telling you about pharma industry, and you people with the MTech in biotechnology will get a decent salary with the bioengineering kind of work, and the salary will be around like 50 to 80K. You can get plus and minus, that's always the case, but this is the normal range of getting the money. In the academia, what people do is people go for PhD in biotech, and if you choose one of the IITs, they pay you 35K based on your gate score, which increases 1 or 2K, but not as super high salary you will be getting here. And PhDs are generally like a little bit shorter for BTechs. It might take you like 4 to 5 years. On the right side, if you are doing MSc Life Sciences, then you have option of pharma and academia. So pharma, again, you are going to be a research scientist with a decent salary, approximately 40 to 60,000 per month. If you choose to go to academia, you have two options. Either you can be a research scientist in the institutions, and you'll be getting a salary around 30 to 60,000 per month. If you choose to go, or you can go to PhD. And PhD in life science, if you do it, there are two options. You can do either from India or abroad. So if you are doing PhD from India, your salary will be again 31 to 35,000 per month. If you choose to go to abroad, it will be 1 to 2 lakhs per month. So then, once you do your masters, either MTech or MSCs, then you go for PhD. And PhD I have divided in two parts. And the left side is MTech with PhD in life science, and the right side is MSc with PhD in life science. And they differ a little bit because they have different initial degrees, like master's degree. So if you choose, if a MTech people with PhD in life science choose to go to pharma industry, they go to biotech and pharma industry as a lead bioengineer, and the salary is pretty good for living. It is like 1 to 2 lakhs, depending on how which company is there and what package do you get. And also your work profile changes because you are not doing exactly the life science, but you are doing something more like engineering because you have engineering background. If you choose to go to academia, you can again be either a faculty or you can continue as a postdoc. So postdoc is basically after doctorate, whatever you do as a research for short period of time, it is called postdoc, means after PhD. So faculty in India, you can get like salary of 1 lakh or 1.5 lakhs per month. As a postdoc, most of the people go abroad and salary is around 3 lakhs per month. These all are I have converted in Indian rupees so that you can get a feeling. But it is not just the salary. If you are comparing India and abroad, salary is higher, but also living expenses, your standard of living, everything is expensive. So you don't have to think that you are going to save this much of money. But it is just to give you an idea, and especially when you are planning for going abroad, you can think about which city you are going, what are the rents there, because I think half of the salary at 3 lakhs will go for rent in expensive cities like Boston, New York, or San Francisco. So you have to consider that once you get an offer, you have to see how much you are saving in terms of if you're thinking about saving. But this is just to give you an idea what is the salary range. In the MSc PhD from life science, you can still go to pharma or academia. There are two options. In the pharma, you will be a lead research scientist, whose salary is basically a 80 lakhs to 80,000 to 120,000 per month. If you choose to go to academia, you can be a lead scientist uh, in any institution, which is basically your salary will be 70,000 to 100 uh, 70,000 to 100,000 per month. Or what many people do is after their PhD, they come to postdoc. And I just put a value here to for you to get a better picture. You can do PhD from India, which is like around 55,000 per month will be your salary. Or you can come abroad, which is again 3 lakhs per month of the salary. So in the next one slide, I want to tell you what are the consideration for the postdoc positions, because till your master's or PhD, you have a strong timeline. Like master's is 2 years, bachelor's is 3 years or 4 years, PhD is 4 to 5 years. But after your PhD, postdoc is not defined very well. How long you need, how what will be your future after your postdoc, what is best for my postdoc. So what I will say you is, even for the PhD, um, same most of the rules what I'm telling you here will apply. Like you choose your area of research, and then you start applying to the people either in India or somewhere else for PhD or postdoc, saying that I want to, suppose you are interested in plant science, or you're interested in geology, or you're interested in microbiology. You have to find a lab which works on those lines, because nobody is going to, so every lab has their own setup. They have the expertise, they have the equipment according to their research. So nobody is going to deviate their research for you. So you have to find a lab or a PI, basically principal investigator, who is working on the same interest, area of interest that you have. So you can look at, so nowadays it's very easy to look at the websites of the university and see how many PIs are there and who are working on which area. And you can write to them saying that my interest in this, is there an opportunity for me to do this kind of research, either PhD or postdoc? So for PhD, if you want to apply for PhD in USA, you need two tests that has to be done, and you have to get a uh, good score on those to get into a good school. But it's not very hard. If you try, people get it. So there is a test called GRE, which is basically graduate record test examination, and if you pass that exam, you get a score, and based on the score, you can apply to different schools. And of course, there you'll be applying for like top schools, medium schools, and lower schools. So there's a ranking for all these scores in USA. And another test you will be giving is for English. That is called IELTS. And again, there is a score on that on that test, and based on that, you can select. You can apply for different schools. But for the postdoc, it is pretty simple. You just contact the scientist by email, and if their interest match with your interest, and if they have positions in the lab, then they will consider you and they will sponsor your visa. So graduate school is basically more kind of stringent than postdocs, because in the graduate school there's a committee and there's a timeline that has to be filled up, and there are many people who are applying, so there is a much more competition. Postdoc is more simpler because you develop your uh, expertise. Like if somebody is looking for some technique which you know, then you can come, because he needs that person who is expert. So PhD basically gives you a specific technique or expertise that you can be master in. And for when you are doing PhD, you should gain that, you should master that, so that you are the expert in that field. Then second thing you will be looking at is principal investigator, or like your P mentor, and his publication record. So if you think of a lab who is not publishing in 5 years, then you have a problem if you join that lab, because in 5 years, if you cannot publish anything, that's a big problem for your career. You should look for a PI who is publishing like every year or every 2 years, so that you can contribute and you can get publications from that lab. Apart from that, also, if you know somebody in that institution or somebody in that lab, try to contact them or get their feedback, what he thinks. Because when we come from India to abroad anywhere, like I'm just not just talking about USA, but even Europe or Australia or anywhere else you go, we don't know much about the lab from outside. So it's very important to focus, take a breath and look at, ask people who are, not many people will reply, but there will be some people who will reply and they will tell you what exactly is this lab about. It is good in both sense, hearing good and bad, especially when you have one or two, because everybody applies to many places. So if you have one or two more options, then it is very good to get the best option for you. Then the third thing I will say is to look at the institution. Institution is important, but not that very important as PI, because institution plays a role in terms of what environment they have, what budget in terms of funding they have. So that will help you for completing your postdoctoral fellowship or graduate studies. I'll also touch base on country. So why country is important? It's it is up to you to choose your country, but you have to keep in mind many things. Like first is language. So many countries has different language, and even in the science, people talk, like if you consider in India, like North India, South India, there are many languages, right? So if we go, if it's somebody who doesn't understand Hindi, they come to North India, they have a hard time learning those languages in like a month or even 2 year or 3 year. So if you go to like South India, there are different languages. So that's a problem for everybody. But that problem exists even in countries, different countries. So we have to be very careful in thinking, and that's why it's also needed. It's, you need to ask the lab what is the main language of communication. Because I will tell you one example. I was selected for my postdoctoral fellowship at Finland, and the person who offered me the position was a very big person in Finland. He was like kind of a National Academy of Science member, and he was in the scientific board of the government. When I talked to somebody in the lab by contacting them, I asked him like, how difficult is the Finnish to learn? And he was saying like, you can learn in like 3-4 years. It depends on the everybody's ability. And I asked him like, how much do you talk in Finnish? They say, yeah, the Finnish people generally talk in Finnish among themselves, and which I understand, because if you like, if you your mother tongue is very easy to speak with, and you can express yourself much better in your mother tongue. So that is also one thing. Another thing is different countries has different rules for the immigrant that come for the PhD or postdoc. So you have to think about it if you are planning to stay out abroad for a long time, or you want to go back. So if you want to go back, then it doesn't matter which country you are. So you are not you don't have to think about settlement. But if you are planning to settle outside India, then you have to think what is the options after like finishing my postdoc. Is there a faculty position there, or is there a company that can hire me? And why I'm telling you is because there are many countries, they don't have open position for faculties. They have limited opportunity. Some of the country, they have the rule that only citizens can be on these positions. In terms of the pharma industry, if you are going for uh, the pharma jobs, some of the company, they have restriction on visas. So you cannot work on certain visa. So you have to get into, like for US, an example, you have to go get in green card. And company also don't want to sponsor your visa because it's a long process for them. So you have to think about all these possibility if you are choosing a country, what your choices are. And that comes to settlement also, like where you want to settle. In terms of the timing, it is a big factor for postdoc because, as I told you, your bachelor's is 3 years, your master's is 2 years, your PhD is 5 years or maximum 6 years. But postdoc can be either 2 years or it can go to like 6 years, 7 years, 8 years. So the timing is very important because if you plan to go back to India, the and you want to join a government institution, they have a certain age, like 35 years, or some of the institutes have 36 or 37 years of your age. But if you pass that, you cannot join any government institution. So then you are left with other options. If you want to really join the faculty position, you have to go before that. And it takes time, like even getting a faculty position in general takes 1 year. So you have to start applying a year before, and then you can join next year. Um, Other than that, I think if you are doing a postdoc and you want to settle down abroad, you have to think how these faculty positions work. Like in USA, most of the institutions, you have to have your own grant to get promoted to faculty. So you have to think right from joining, if I'm, what grants I can write as a postdoc, what grant I can write as a faculty, because you have to run your lab. So these all different components you have to think all the time to be successful in your career. And I think it's a good timing for students and faculty to think about it and then proceed, because nowadays you have much more awareness, much more information from either from internet or people. You can write to anybody and ask them. Somebody will not reply, but other people will reply. So it's not that you are not aware of the things. You can set up a meeting with people, and there are many things that is going on in terms of career development. So all the institutions, they all want people to know what is out there, how they can use that. There are many resources that can help you. So I think with that, I would like to conclude. I think I have two more slides. Okay, sorry. I'll quickly go through these two slides. So what do you do after postdoc? So I am just giving you one example here first for the postdoc in India. So if you do postdoc in India, you can go to pharma, or you can come go back to academia. So if you go to biotech or pharma industry, you will be as a senior scientist. And senior scientists basically are similar as senior scientists or assistant professors in academia. So salary wise, you'll be close to each other, and you will be working like a leader. You will have research junior research scientist, or you will have research associate who will be working with you to help you with the small techniques or bench work. But you will be mainly more like thinking. You will be writing grants, not in industry, but in academia, and you will be making the hypothesis, analyzing the data, and looking at overall the project management. So if you are a postdoc who is in abroad, what are the main opportunity for you? Of course, there are many more that you can do, but I'm just giving you the example. Like the left side, after postdoc in abroad, if you want to go back to India, there are two options again. Left side, you can go to pharma industry, and they will give you senior scientist position, but with a higher salary. Sometimes you can be a lead scientist, uh, but there is a catch in that because as a postdoc, you don't get too much of managerial experience. Managerial experience means you have to have like you have managed colleagues under you. So that is lacking even if you are a postdoc for like 5 to 6 years. So that's why they will give you senior scientist but with a good salary, like 1 to 2 lakhs of salary. Again, you can go to academia at a faculty track, and there are institutions and university which can you can they can pay you like 1.5 lakhs to 1.75 lakhs depending on the channel. If you want to stay in abroad, on the right side you can see that you can either go to pharma industry uh, as a senior scientist, or sometimes they give you lead scientist positions, and the salary are 6 to 7 lakhs per month. Uh, or you can go to faculty positions, which is our scientist, like assistant professors in the academia, and the salary will be like similar, like 6 to 7 lakhs per month. So I think this is the summary of what we can do from right from intermediate of science and what are the options available. But of course, there are many things that I have not touched, and I will tell you a little more about my story in 1 or 2 minutes. So after my bachelor's in biotechnology, I moved to IIT Bombay for my master's. And what I find peculiar about IIT is that they have so much of resources for students for teaching them. You have like computers is not a problem, reagents were not a problem, and I was when I went there, I was first time I was seeing all these equipments, spectrophotometer, CDS spectra, fluorimeter, and gel running equipments. So this was very exciting for me, and I tried to learn as much as I can. Apart from that, the resources from the students. So many of the BTech students, they were applying for GRE, TOEFL, and all that. So you'll get exposed to that environment, and after that, you know what are the possibility after masters. And then I choose after my masters, I was looking at an institute which is better than IIT in terms of research, and I choose National Center for Cell Science because this was one of the premier institute in India, and if you can even look for the ranking of the institutions based on the funding, based on the equipments, and based on the research papers. And I found this institute is publishing much better than most of the institutions. And then I selected NCCS Pune for my PhD. And after that, you will also get all these offers like where to go, where not to go. And I think you can make these opportunities uh, by selecting better options for you. Same thing happened after my PhD. I was interviewed here at Harvard. Uh, I had an offer from Caltech and also from other places, Finland and other places. Then I asked people like, what is best Then I looked at the PI, principal investigator, who was hiring me, look at their publications, and then I selected this by, which might be a mistake too, because you don't know from the beginning. But I think what I found after coming here, what I find better is everybody is hungry for the research. So if you ask somebody good questions, they will also give you good answers, and you can learn a lot from the people around you. And time is not a limit here. People are working like all the time, daytime, evening time, night time, depending on what they want to achieve. Some people achieve more, some people in the middle, some people less. But if you are in an environment where everybody is achieving, you will also achieve. And I think the important thing is your community, how people are motivated. And that's very important to keep you motivated and keep up your good work all the time. And as Piyush also told you, like research is not like one day job. You have to be very patient because you are doing new thing. So there is a chances that you will fail most of the times, but you don't have to get demotivated. You have to keep up your motivation, you have to keep up your strength, and you should believe in yourself. What went wrong? How I can improve this? So I think this is a long way to go, and I think people also know that if you are in life science, uh, it will take time for you to get settled. If you, because in India there is a concept that you have a pressure from your parents, from your society, that when you will get settled. So that takes time. Than uh, other professions like computer sciences uh, or engineering even is much shorter time period of learning, and then you start your job pretty quickly. So with that, I would like to thank you all the audiences, and special thanks to Sanjeevani Biotech Foundation, which is doing a very great initiative for students. And I'm very appreciative to all these volunteers like Piyush, Ansu, everybody who is spending their time and have a motivation to uh, get something from their what they know and put it to the people who really need it. And I think when I was doing my bachelor's or master's, there was no platform that can tell you where you can apply, what you can do. But nowadays, I think there is much more out there in the public, and you can even look for internet. You can even talk to people. I think there's more communication that is happening, and it's a great initiative that somebody is having a platform where they can help people and talk to people and get people the knowledge and resources that they need. So with that, I would be happy to take the questions.
Uh, uh, Thank you, sir, for your talk. I'll straight away start taking the questions. There is one question from Suraj, who asks, is it a good idea to do PhD from Lalit Narayan Mithila University, or should he pursue PhD from a good university? So I'll modify his question. How important is a university when choosing a PhD course?
Yeah, so it is important, but as I told you, your lab is very important. So if somebody, simple, I'm telling you, if you want to study a plant science, you have to find an institute where plant science is at best. If you are thinking about Lalit Narayan Misra University, and if you are doing a research on microbiology, and if they have all these microbiology facilities, and if you are motivated enough to do science, there is no problem. But you have to think what you are going to do next. So if you publish a paper in PhD, like 2 or 3 papers, think about what most of the people are doing, what successful people are doing. That is how we measure ourselves, right? So when we are doing mass like intermediate, we think my friends are like getting 50% marks. I should get at least 50% marks or more, right? So same thing happens here. If you think 10,000 people are doing PhD in India, what they are doing after PhD, how many papers they are getting out of their PhD, or if you are planning to go to abroad, if you are plan to go abroad, you have to think my senior went or somebody senior went to USA or other countries. How was his CV? What is his publication during his PhD? And that's what you want to do. For the job, I think if you are a PhD, you are better off than masters because you have much more better degree. So you will definitely get a job somewhere. But that also depends on how what is your expertise, right? So if you are doing a microbiology PhD, then you have to be expert in microbiology. So if somebody or some company is looking for somebody who can do microbiology, you should be the one. So if you are a PhD in zoology, so you have to look at the department, what facility they have, and compare with the best university or at least the middle university or average university, what facility they have. So you have to look, you have to compare even within the department or within the university, you have to figure out who is the best PI, who has the equipments, who has motivation to do the research. Yeah, indoor air pollution, that's a good topic. I think it's very helpful for everywhere in the world because pollution is everywhere. So air pollution is good thing. Your topic is good. If you have all the facility to do the research there, I think it's a good idea to do. But it is you only who can think about it, and because you are the only one who is in the department and in the lab. So you have to think. You can compare with other people also. Like you can talk to other people who are doing in the same research in the same stream, or you can look for other labs what they are doing. You can always collaborate. I know it is very difficult in India, but if you talk to your PI, you can do that actually.
Okay, thank you, sir. So in summary, university matters, but your lab matters more. So even if a
Right.
university ranking is a bit less, but if that lab has good publications and good output, you should definitely go for the lab first.
Right.
Okay, sir, there is, you have already explained about PhD and postdoc in detail. There is a question from Shruti. What are the career options at BSc and MSc levels? So what do you recommend, that one should definitely go for PhD or they can start some job at BSc or MSc level? What's
So
your
there are
view?
like everybody is different, right? So there are many factors other than just the education, right? So if I tell somebody to do PhD, he will not do or he or she will not do because they have their own family restrictions or family values, what they want to do. Especially for girls or boys, there are like many things that they have to talk in their own family. Somebody like gets married, then there are priority changes. Somebody has other issues. So what I will tell is it all depends on you what you want to do. After bachelor's, you can go to either do MSc or you can go to a company, biotech company, which can hire you based on your expertise that you have or education that you have. Only thing is, like as I told you, you have seen that once you grow up in your ladder, you get better salary, and of course, you get much more expertise. So you have to think about it. If you have a time to do this, I think I will go for higher education because in the long term, you have better growth if you have higher education. Does that answer the questions?
Okay, thank you, sir. There are many people who are asking about exams and then IIT Jam and so on. We will have a separate session on the exams which you can appear in. So please do not worry about that right now because it needs a lot of time to discuss all the exams. And regarding IIT Jam, please, sir, if you can say it in 2 to 3 lines only,
Right.
the significance of Jam exam.
Right. So IIT Jam is conducted all over the India, and I think it has all these components, small components like math, physics, chemistry, these all biology, these all are there. So you have to prepare very well for those. And you can imagine that it's not like very big institutions overall. So all these IITs has like maybe 20, 25 seats per IITs. And many of IIT doesn't have even masters. So the competition is high. So I will say prepare very well and know, look at the last year questions if available or previous to previous year questions if available, and then go very well prepared for these exams because you have one or two chance and you don't want to lose your time. So first year, suppose you are preparing for, so after your bachelor's in the third year, generally we prepare for the exams. You don't want to waste one more year just by sitting and preparing for the exams. So prepare well ahead and then try to finish that, get a good school, which is important for you. I also
Okay.
saw one question which popped out here saying that is it important to do summer internship or PhD abroad? So what I will say is it is very important for you to learn the techniques, basic techniques, because what I have seen as per my experience is I have mentored around now like 22 students, and the problem with the Indian system is we are not training them at, like as I told you, even me myself I was in BSc, but it was not a great lab where we learn everything. Here in USA, the students starts from the high school doing the experiments. They know every like all these equipment, so they are familiar with those. So if you are doing summer training, it's good because you will know how PCR machine looks, how to operate that. Even if you don't know exactly the if you are not the master of the technique, you know the overview. So if you come here, it will be much easier for you to learn.
Okay. Thank you, sir. So there is a related question. How important are summer internships to get PhD abroad? So you have already
Yeah.
partially answered it. Yeah. So, there is a question. What does writing a grant mean? Okay, so it is, we do not have enough time to discuss grant writing in detail, but I will be conducting a session on writing SOP, writing for summer fellowships, and then I'll also explain the grants and the meaning of grants. But sir can explain what exactly is grant in 1 or 2 sentences only,
Right.
in
So
simple
grant
language.
is basically if you want a funding for your research, you write a hypothesis and you show that I have done this and I'm going to do this. So people in the field, they will judge you based on what you have done, what you are doing. Is this a good idea? Is it feasible by you? So if I write that I want to make an aeroplane, people will ask me, do you have the facility to make it, right? Or have you shown that you have made it? So for writing a grant and getting it, you can write anything, but getting it means you should have the expertise. You have proven you have a fund like publication on that line, which shows that you can do it, and also your hypothesis will be sound that it is feasible in this area. So that two things are very key to write a grant and get funded. Does that answer your question, Piyush?
Yes, sir. Uh, Thank you, sir. So, in short, you need money to do the research. You need money to pay the people in your lab, and that comes from writing a grant.
Right. Yes.
There are some questions like CV related formatting. So I'll discuss in a separate session about CV. So please don't worry about that. There are questions on company related opportunities. So we have a specific session where we'll discuss company related issues, and we will have experts joining from industries to address those queries. So please have some patience, and we'll definitely address it in the coming sessions. So I do not see more questions for which we should bother you at this time. I think that's all for now, sir. Most of the other questions are related to already we have sessions dedicated to those questions, so we'll be discussing those in details. So thank you, sir, for your time and your talk. It was very insightful, and I'm sure people will get several take-home messages. In case you still have questions, you can directly contact sir, or you can mail us, and we will try to send you appropriate answers. As you understand, we have a limited time, and we cannot discuss all the questions in the exact detail which is needed. But as our sessions unfold, you will get clear answer to all of these. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Piyush, for coordinating this, and other volunteers who are in the back. I would like to thank you all, Sanjeev, for taking the lead and making this happen. So I will leave now the meeting because it's like 1 o'clock night here. I'll go to bed. You
Okay,
guys
sir.
continue. Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
thank you, sir. So to tell the participants, since sir had joined from USA and it's about to be 1 a.m. at night, so he has to take the leave now. Okay, sir. Good night. Thank you for your talk.
Good night, Piyush.
Yeah,
We
we
talk
really
tomorrow.
appreciate it.
Yeah, sure.